Okay, let's start the call. So we have quite a few agenda items for today's call. The first one, Simon, I would like you to go through the current blockers and the updates on rolling out the UI error resolution. Do you want to go through for us?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, there have been a few issues with the error resolution UI. One of the blockers was to do with not being able to process OBS. It was skipping the processing of observations, which we noted while we were testing the screening form. That one has been fixed. And then there was some error. I think Win understands well what he did, but there was an error to do with missing message section when posting data onto the error data in the table in the database. So these ones have been fixed, and so far we have tested, everything's working fine. There's just one last error that I observed yesterday. The CDSS team actually encountered it while they were trying to register a patient. So there's one type of error that it's not showing what is the problem. It's just indicating the error is null. So it's something that I wanted to share with Win after this, so that we can resolve it. After that, I don't think there will be another issue, but we'll do one last test, maybe in the course of tomorrow. Then from there on, we shall be able to push the module to production.
Okay, great. So any comments or questions regarding the UI error resolution? Everyone? Okay, so if not, let's move to the next agenda item is the work in progress demo on the fingerprint project by Achana. Achana, are you ready to do the demo?
I have just started my server data, so it will take time. Do you want me to start, or shall I wait till it's set?
I can. How about I can just move on to the next agenda item while you're setting up? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes.
Sure. Okay, so let's look at the current sprint ticket. And I want to look at those tickets which are on hold for now. So just to make sure that we have relevant information on those so that they can move forward. The first one is 271. Change all mUzima forms for download providers. Kieran, do you want just to give us an update? Is it because of waiting for a pull request for 268?
So actually there's a code level dependency between this and mUzima 268, for which we have issued a pull request. So if that can be merged, then we can continue on this.
Okay, cool. And the next one is 272. I guess it's the same issues.
Yes, Ada, it's the same issue.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one is 279.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Ada, I think Kiran and I spent almost the whole afternoon trying to debug this, and I think it's an issue that was caused by a fix for mUzima 77, I think, where we had a ticket to track that if you get logged out during the wizard process, you have to clear data when you try to log in. Let me just bring that ticket up. I'm just looking for it.
Is it 77?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is that the one? No, it's not 77. Okay, one second. I'm just looking for it. Just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, I think when we when I made this change, basically cleared out the credentials, which was what was causing the issue where when we merged Vikas's code,
Uh-huh.
it's trying to download the provider. It's 56,
256.
not 256, just 56, mUzima 56. Ensure application data is empty before starting the wizard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the fix for this basically caused the ACRA issue where some reports were not being submitted to ACRA. You were missing reports.
Mm-hmm.
And the next issue that it caused was the app crash on step 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to change the way 56 has been implemented, and hopefully it should remove both these issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
So let's go ahead.
what? Sorry. Once this has been fixed, I think 279 can be closed,
Mm-hmm.
and 231 can be successfully tested, which means 271 will work, and so will 270.
A lot of dependency. Yes.
So yeah, I think it's going to be some crazy dynamo effect where everything just gets fixed. So Monday we have a lot, lot less on hold.
Yeah. So great. So another ticket I want to talk about is the 280. Um, it's about the options of changing the font size. And I don't know if everyone got the chance to test on it, but I just put a few screenshots just from my phone because I think every device might look a little bit different. I just want just to compare how it looks from different screen size. This is the small font size. This is the medium. Just want to FYI, the medium is a little bit bigger than our current default settings on the form. But this, if everyone is okay with the medium size, we will use it as the new default size. And then this is the large. I hope that everyone can try to take the screenshots from the different devices and then share on this ticket, so that we can get a consensus whether it looks okay, and then before Kieran to proceed for committing the code. Anyone have any comments or questions on this one? If not, just look
Hello?
at. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
anything about the Zoom? Were you able to test the Zoom?
I forgot to tap on the Zoom actually. You're right. Okay. I will test it. I will test it and post the comments. I haven't tested it. I totally forgot about the zooming.
Sure.
Okay, sorry. And then for the testing phase, I think this is really close because I think there was like some dependency thing on hold earlier, and I think it moved forward now. So for the 249, Lawrence, I know that you tested it and then you think it looks good. Just want to see if how long we need to wait for the feedback from your team before we can close out this ticket. This is for the CDM screening form.
I think so far so good. I had a chat with Simon today,
Uh-huh.
and I think one other item that's left is the village, which is not going to be pushed in as a concept. I don't know, maybe Simon mentioned something on that. I don't know.
So village is the address field?
Yeah, it's one of the address fields.
Yeah, so it should be collected through the registration form if that's what the program needs.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So does it mean either we update the registration form?
So I think it would be good to collect like all the requirements for the registration form instead of like we add one field every time. So maybe it's good just Lawrence will be very helpful just to talk to CDM and LARC, and also oncology program. Just say that what is the minimum information that you would like to be on the registration form regarding the demographic and address information. So that
Okay,
we
I'll do
can
that,
just
please.
do it once. We can create like a new ticket, just do it once instead of like adding one every time.
Okay, I'll meet up with them this afternoon, and then at the same time we can summarize what has come in as addition on the dispensary
Yeah.
form and the
So
health
for
center
now,
form.
it's I would think like the CDM screening form is good to go. It's minus the village information, and while you guys discussing and deciding what exactly minimum information for the registration form, and then we'll create a new ticket for that. Just do it once.
Yes, and Eda, I just want to chip onto that statement. Okay,
Go ahead.
Lawrence, as we have said, we want to get away from this thing where you guys keep changing the same forms. So we had enough chances to discuss the registration form. Really tell your team at this point, that one is closed. In the future, if the program wants to change the components of that, it's going to be a future enhancement of the registration form. And that's going to apply to all the forms moving forward. So once it's closed, we're not going to be making changes every other day for them. It's not the way to do this.
Yeah, I think everyone's on the same page on this. So I think the CDM screening form will give them a couple more days for testing, and then we'll close it out. And regarding the registration form, as soon once the programs provide the requirements, what the new fields should be included, and then we'll have a ticket for that. But no programming task would start before the requirements are finalized. Cool. The next one is 275. This is the location ID for oncology form. Simon, do you have an update on this one?
Yeah, I think this should be okay. Steven tested. I think it should be on code review. I did change the status.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You need me to comment about that, Ada?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Simon, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. This one we did a discussion last week on how to address the issue of observation date. So I created some 2 tickets which I'll be working on to program the server side, and also to program the core JavaScript so that we can be able to serialize observation data and have the same be processed at the server side. So if you can, there are two tickets. I think it's mUzima 82 and 83, which are related to this one. So the form is almost done. I'll be sharing with Lawrence and Tor tomorrow. Then they can give an update, and after that, before implementation, we'll have to have the other two tickets fixed.
Is it the ops daytime one?
Yeah.
Okay. I will do the link later because I think it's very slow, the connection. How about for the health center form, 267? Yeah. Is it the same issue?
Yeah, the same.
Okay. And then 276 is the resolving the conflict between REST. Win, do you want just to share what the problem is? Win, do you want just like to briefly mention what this problem is?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so the problem is the way OpenMRS implement the REST, instead of differentiating the handler by URL, so they use the object that gets handled by the URL to decide which one will basically, which code get executed when you call the URL. So on normal use case, usually you specify, oh, this URL will do this function, basically. But in OpenMRS case, what happens is you have this URL, and then this URL will be mapped to a certain object, and then based on the object, OpenMRS will find the handler. So we register a separate URL, but using the same object, in this case encounter. And then when we call the URL, OpenMRS find the encounter object and look for the handler, and found two handler, OpenMRS core handler and mUzima handler, and then ended up calling mUzima handler. So the way I plan to fix this one is by creating a dummy object which will encapsulate the encounter object, and then use that one as our handler. So instead of registering it for encounter, we will register it for dummy encounter object.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that clarifies it a little bit or not.
That's really helpful.
But Win, why did it actually, so basically you're saying that there were two objects which could have potentially worked in this situation because both of them were registering, both the URLs were registering the same thing. So how did it pick mUzima over the other one?
No, in normal RAS implementation, it's usually based on the URL. So they don't care about what object is handled on that URL. So when you say, in our use case, our REST call is mUzima/encounter, but the OpenMRS core encounter URL is just /encounter without the mUzima namespace.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing that happens is when you call /mUzima/encounter, it looks what object is handled on that URL. It will find encounter, and then it find the handler for encounter, not for the URL.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of confusing the way the REST is set up. I mean, it should be when you see the URL, you find the handler, not going and then find the object and then find the handler.
Is there a reason why?
Because our REST endpoint is different with the core encounter URL resource.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone have question about that.
So when I'm not sure, I have no questions about the 276, but I'm not sure if you were on the call when we were just talking about 279, which is the app crash during the wizard process on step 2. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
I was there.
oh, you were there, great, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't need to spend any time on that, is what I was just trying to say. We'll fix it.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the next one is 283, the crash report not being captured in Acrasa. I think Shrita already mentioned earlier that she found the issue because of the tickets like empty, the credential was got empty. That's why. So it's the same thing. And I want so those open tickets, we can go talk about those later on. I want to save some time for Achana to do her demo. If we have time, we can go through the rest of the tickets after that. Achana, are you ready?
Yes, Ed, I'm ready. I'm going
Okay.
to share my screen.
Okay, cool.
Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes. It's just show now. Yeah.
Okay. I have already loaded the fingerprint OMOD into OpenMRS, and so it appears here, mUzima fingerprint. So I'm going to identify a new patient and register him, and later again, as the new patient will not be existing, so I need to register him, and then I will search. I will retrieve it. So I'm scanning a new finger. So it says no patient was found with this fingerprint. And do you want to search patient by other identifier? I don't want to search by any other identifier, so I just say no. And here is a registration form. So I fill in some test data. So we need to make sure there are no spaces or anything. Otherwise, it will be a parse error here. Now the patient got created. So my records, and so these are the few details of the patient which we just registered. So let's go back and identify this patient. So now I'm using the same finger, and here is a patient that we have just registered. So far it has been till here, and previously there used to be an applet. This applet used to crash whenever I used to go back and forth the pages, and now that is resolved. It is smooth without any applet crashes, and when you first when at the first time when you load the OMOD into our OpenMRS, there is a security warning if you want to run the applet or not. So that one will appear, I think, only when the temporary memory from the browser is deleted. And I mean, from the second time onwards, if the temporary memory is deleted, the security check appears every time. But if the temporary memory is not deleted, I think the security check will not appear from the second time onwards. It's only for the first time, the check to run the applet on your browser or not. So and the other thing is, so before even we start the scanning process, we need to activate the licenses of the Neurotech SDK. So for doing that, I have created a shell script which actually takes care of right from the starting step, that is downloading the SDK, Neurotech SDK, unzip it, and then run the installer, and then go to the activation folder and start the license activation. So if we just run the shell script, the licenses get activated, and then we can come to the OpenMRS administration, and we can load our module, and we can start scanning or registering patients using fingerprint. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, I can go with that.
So right now, we only have one person attribute field for all fingers. So eventually we might have like different person attribute field for different fingers separately. That's something that we consider to do later on, but right now we just want to have the proof of concept that it is working properly. And do you want to talk about some of the ideas that you have in mind about like improving from moving forward?
Yeah, so one thing is for the uniformity. Now when we identify a patient who is not registered, so then you have the search patient by other identifier if you want to do that. So this search is different from the find create patients home page, the home search for the find create patient. So if we make the same as that, there would be uniformity with our code. So I think this is one of the change that we need to make. And along with this,
You know, how about supporting other operating system?
Yeah, so far I have done only the shell script is only for Mac to activate the licenses. So for a Windows user, we need to have similar set of instructions run by a batch file. So we need to create that, and also uh, we need to provide a download link for the users to download those scripts and instructions, how to run the shell script or batch file, or if they want to do manually the instructions right from downloading it and unzipping it and installing the SDK and then activating the licenses. So these manual instructions also we need to provide for the user. Mm. Is there anything, Ira, that I'm missing out?
Yeah, I think. Do you want to talk about the Java console like you talked about earlier? What
Yeah.
other option to hide it? Yeah.
Yes, for the Java console, you can hide or show anytime you want by going to system preferences, Java control panel. Let me show you. So if you go to the advanced settings of the Java control panel, there is an option that you can show the Java console or you can hide it. So if users do not, I mean, if they don't prefer looking at the Java console, which for this demo I hide it. I can also change it to show console mode and then restart my. I mean, check the identifying patient part again. Then I don't think I think the console will show up that time. And then the other thing is which I was telling about the temporary data. So the applet as the applet is already loaded. So if you can go to the temporary internet files from the general settings of Java control panel. It appears here, and if we delete it, or when you restart your system, it gets deleted, and at that time you need to accept the security risk and run the applet, and that's why it didn't appear to me because it was already loaded here in the temporary files.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great.
So there might be a way where we can stop it from deleting when you restart your system. If the user prefers not to run it, I mean, if the user wants it to be disabled and let the applet run every time, provided they know about the security risk. So if there is any way that we can disable the security check, then that should be good for some users.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I wonder if anyone have any common feedback in terms of like for advice, what we need to improve or consider. So one thing I wonder if we should use the same view like the mUzima modules because this look like the legacy view.
Yeah, I think so. I think we should follow what the other view look like.
Yeah, I think there's another thing that I can think of now. So I think I agree with China that on this patient search by other methods should similar to the patient search because right here we can only search by identifier but not the patient name, in case like the patient don't have the identifier available.
Archana, I just have a suggestion. I know it's really simple, but I was just wondering if it would help. It's basically when you say, please put your finger on the scanner, do you want to specify which finger you're talking about? So,
Uh,
like, I
yeah,
think,
Shweta, I think, yeah, we
yeah,
need to specify it.
yeah, because the next time you identify, if you don't, I think this goes back more to the conversation we had some time ago, Ada, about how we pick and choose a specific finger as a defaulted one. So
Mm-hmm.
we always, on default, use that one for searching as well as storing.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and also maybe we need to further develop a way for the user to choose what type of finger he wants to register. So he can, there should be an option for him to choose any finger and then register that finger. So
Mm-hmm. Yes, digit specific fingerprint options, correct. So on the chat, Eric has a question. Does the registration only work on the server side, or it will be also incorporated on the mUzima APK? So right now, both of them are, developments has been ongoing on both sides, the server side and also the mobile side. We just want to focus on streamlining the setup on the server side first. So that's what China has been spending time on, because in the past there's a lot of setup and other many steps, and it's quite overwhelming for regular user. And when it's so overwhelming, most of the time users don't want to even adopt, even try to use it. So that's why we want to streamline on the server side first, and also get a few feedback from this demo, and then make a few enhancements before we move on to enhancing or do the similar thing for the mobile side. So any comment or questions on this one? I think we would love to have more feedback and suggestions, so that we are not going to the wrong direction or away from the the mainstream.
I think this is really good. Like, this is really great progress.
Yeah, because I tried the previous version before on the server side, and this is so much smooth, so much smoother and less intimidating for a regular user.
Yeah, I think the next one would be have a few folks who haven't had tried this one before try to install the
Yeah.
your sales script, Archana, and then I think that will be, from that experience, I think we can get more feedback and see what kind of improvement we can make in the process.
Mm-hmm. Agree. So, so the plan is that Achana is going to install on the mUzima test server on cloud, and then send some information instructions to Eric's team, so that they can actually use it. I think like I'll be happy to be a tester, like just from installing and start from scratch for my machine, just to make sure that whether we pick up some other surprises and then things that we need to improve.
cool, Ada.
So Eric, yes, we're going to make it available on the mUzima test server. Great. So just FYI, right now this work on only on the Mac machine. So you might want to find someone with the Mac machine just to test with the test with it.
And I think this is a good job, Achana. Just a small question. Can it work with a different, with a variety of scanners? Maybe a scanner from a different manufacturer?
I didn't get you. Is it Martin? I didn't get you, Martin.
It's Simon.
Oh, Simon.
Yeah, I'm asking. So can it work with a scanner from a different manufacturer, or maybe with a different set of drivers?
I think they should work, Simon. I have only one working fingerprint reader with me, so I have been trying only with this. But I think any other fingerprint reader should be able to do this. So right now I'm using Fitronic fingerprint scanner.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think also like some of on the device side, it would be a little bit more challenging because like some of the devices are not compatible with certain scanner. That are the so that's more like challenging. But then we picked this SDK that which should work with most of them, but might not be compatible with all mobile devices in terms of the scanners. So there's a lot of scanners compatible capability with the devices and as well. So there's a lot of even more factors like which combination works and which combination don't work. Yeah, I think there are quite a few scanners already in empath side. Leggett has those. So it'll be good to use different scanners when you test on the server side just to get feedback for different type of scanner. Okay, cool. This is great progress, Achana.
Thanks, Ada.
I think very soon we can have these pilots in one of the clinic so that we can get even more feedback while you're working on the mobile side.
Yeah, great.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome, like to develop something actually to be put in implementation and production. This is exciting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks, Leggett. So I think those are good feedback. So if there's no more questions, we have about 10 minutes left. Thank you so much, Achana. Great demo and great progress.
Yeah. Sure, Ada, no problem.
And so is there any like burning issues that anyone would like to talk about for the since we have only 10 minutes left? Rita, go ahead. No?
Just a gentle reminder that we were hoping that some of the merges would be done. So I think Manisha is stuck on 268, so she can continue with 271. I know that tomorrow is a holiday for you guys, but we are working, so we'll kind of be stuck on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm reviewing it right now. I see some changes, like a lot of the section is, I don't know if it's gone or if it's move around. I think try as much as possible to not commit like white space changes, I guess, Sweta and Manisha and Kiran.
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind when I think we basically reformatted the code because it wasn't properly. And yeah, it's difficult now to tell which was the actual change and which was the
Yeah,
format change. Yeah, that's a real pain. Just think we can fix that.
yeah. It's is it possible to revert some of the white space changes first, Sweta, and then I can review it later on? Or
Okay.
if it's
We,
hard, then I can.
no, we'll definitely give it a shot. But
Okay, all right.
yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay, so Robot put a comment on the chat that they still have the problem downloading forms using the APK published on June 25th. This is considered consistent with the app crash ticket, Robot. So Shweta and Kiran already figured out what the issues are. So one, those are resolved, and those would be fixed. So just don't use the June 25th. Don't get stuck with the June 25th APK. Just go back to use the one from May for testing.
Yeah. So about this, because a lot of people are blocked on it. So what I'm going to do is, before I leave today, I'm just going to fix that, and I'll issue a merge. I don't know when. I'm sure you're really busy, but I will do it on my end. So feel free to merge it, and maybe we can give them a new APK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, guys. I know that there's a lot of dependencies, so that's why it's becoming very challenging. Yeah.
I'll put right.
So Eddie, just a quick one. Since we are piloting the screening form tomorrow, you're saying you advise that we use the May APK.
Lawrence, can you repeat?
I'm saying since we are piloting out the screening form tomorrow, are you advising that I use the May APK?
I think you can use the May APK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that one is relatively very stable.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. So Kieran, while just now I was testing the zoom in, zoom out, I don't experience any problem like app crash or any problem. It's just the normal zoom in, zoom out on my device. So I don't experience anything problematic.
No, it won't crash it won't crash the application. The only thing is, in some of the devices, we saw that even if you zoom the form, wouldn't zoom a section of the form. It will readjust the entire like the lines will fold. Like what was one line would become two line, and in a way it will. I can attach a screenshot like what's happening. So what we can do is we can keep it, but it won't work well on all devices.
So what was the problem on some of the devices?
So if you zoom, then the form would readjust. Like I think I'll attach a screenshot. It's hard to explain. So if there was a question which was in one line, when you zoom, you expect that it will still stay as one line, but the font would become bigger, right?
Yeah.
But on devices, the font was becoming slightly bigger, but one line was wrapping into multiple lines based on how much you zoomed. So the loop form was.
So like wrapping, some kind of like.
Yeah, it was wrapping. Yeah, it was still trying to fit the entire form in the screen. Yeah.
It doesn't happen to mine on my device. It just it stay in the same line, just like bigger fonts.
Okay, I think then we can keep zoom, and also anyway there's an option to increase the font size. So if it works for them, they can use zoom. Otherwise, they can just use the font size preference.
Okay.
So only pending is deciding whether the default font needs to be small or medium.
Oh yeah, I think the original font size looks fine on my device. The medium size look a little bit bigger than I used to. Probably just like a habit, I guess. Like just get used to it. So I don't know if other members got a chance to test it out yet. Lawrence, did you get a chance to test out the font size APK?
Yeah, I did test myself.
Hey, Derek, what do you think? The small, medium, and large.
I did large and small, and it was working pretty fine, depending on maybe the user's eyesight. So she can decide to choose either.
So actually, the user feedback was that the current font size is fine. That's what, like, I think Lawrence replied on the email that we sent. So
Okay, wait.
Yeah. So, Lawrence, did you get a chance to look at it yet?
Yes, I did, and using the tablet, and it pretty much looked okay to me. So I was thinking maybe with extra feedback, maybe it would be more useful if we can get that from the users.
Yeah. So I wonder if I think the main question is do you prefer the current font size or the medium font size as default font size?
I think medium worked better for me.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe that as an individual, medium.
I think maybe it will be helpful that you work with your users, like at least like a few of them, just to get some consensus so that Kieran can have the information to finalize it.
Yes, so the plan is, since we have I have 2 tablets set out for the mentors as they go out, they can use that to give us feedback from the other providers out there. Then that would be representative almost.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So we have a couple minutes left. Any other things before we wrap up? So tomorrow is our US holiday, so we'll be off. We'll resume the call next Monday. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy your
Thank you.
holiday.
Bye.
Bye.